hereby called to order. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Koss.
Present.
Chairman Ripka.
Present. There's no need to excuse the absence of Ms. Aker this afternoon as she regretfully tendered her resignation. Could you please read Brooke's letter of resignation into the record, please?
This is dated February 2nd, 2018 to the Civil Service Commission of Delaware, Ohio. First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to serve our great city. At this time, I regretfully must resign my appointment to the commission. With my shifting priorities at work and a new role that I accepted last year, my ability to make our monthly meetings is now one that I cannot accommodate. Please accept this letter as my resignation effective immediately. I wish you all the best, and I am confident that the decisions and discussions that all of you have in the future will only continue to make our great community even better. Thank you again, Brooke Aker.
Thank you. I only served with Brooke for about a year on the commission, but I tell you, it kind of stings to lose somebody with that experience and caliber, particularly that private sector HR experience, which she got from Honda. Nonetheless, I respect, understand, and appreciate her decision. I think she was on the board for 3 years. I think she had a 6-year term, so she got through 3 years of it, voluntary service at that, and it's commendable, and I think our safety workforce is all the better for it. We thank Brooke for her service, and we wish her well in all our future endeavors. As we stand through the Pledge of Allegiance, I ask that we remain standing for a brief moment of silence for our fallen heroes from Westerville, Officers Anthony Morelli and Eric Joring. And if I'm not mistaken, another police officer was fallen yesterday in Missouri. 911 call, he was killed and 2 others were injured. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, may they rest in peace. We pray that it stops. Please read agenda item number 3 into the record.
Approval of the motion summary for the meeting held January 3rd, 2018 as recorded and transcribed.
Having read the motion summary in advance, does any commission member wish to initiate any further discussion? If not, do I hear a move to accept and approve the motion as recorded and transcribed?
So moved.
I will second it. So we have a move by Mr. Koss, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Koss.
Yes.
Chairman Ripka.
Yes, the motion carries. Please read agenda item number 4 into the record.
Update of the police officer certified list.
I yield the floor to Chief Pijanowski.
Thank you. The changes to our list this month are located on the bottom of the form that you should have before you under the hire, remove, disqualified section. The first name, Samuel Walter, has been hired, and his start date is 12 days from now, but he has received his formal offer of employment and has a scheduled start date. The second name is Shane Shoemaker. He is being removed from the list. He requested to be withdrawn from the process. Had he not requested to be withdrawn from the process, we would have moved to strike him anyways because he was non-responsive to any of our communications. He didn't turn any of his background papers in. He missed his practical assessment deadlines and apparently got cold feet, but he was not willing to move forward at this point.
Yes, I was wondering if he kind of went down to Columbus because they are hiring a lot of police and fire down there. I think 100 police officers and I think 80 firefighters. So if we're going to hire, let's go do it.
He's actually from Oregon, so we've made some special accommodations for him to be able to do our PT and test without having to fly back each time. So he did well in the process, but I think the notion of moving his wife, and I'm not sure if he had kids at this point, but I don't recall, but I think maybe the quick turnaround maybe gave a little cold feet, maybe needs to talk it over with his wife a little bit more, but it's a little surprised because he does hail from the area, so I think both he and his wife are from, I think it was the Richwood area, but for whatever reason, he's working at a police department out in Oregon. He had a change of heart.
Okay. So with this one hire, I think that kind of puts you just like one slot away from fully staffed in the full-time permanent side. Is that correct?
Correct. So I will need one more. We are looking at one candidate on the list right now who's available in April. He's a really qualified candidate, and we're hoping to get him on board by April, end of April.
It's good for the city. Aggressive hiring is what we like to see. I think I asked this question before, but I just want to reaffirm it. How do we keep up with the candidates when they withdraw? How do we know that they withdraw? Do we contact them, or I can't see them contacting us all the time?
Sometimes they'll contact us and let us know that they've been employed and they want to withdraw from the process. Other times, if it's a candidate that we're interested in looking at, we contact them and they've accepted another job, we'll just ask them to formally withdraw from our list so that we can move people up.
Thank you, Chief. Does any commission member have any further questions? If not, do I hear a move to accept and certify the police officer list as presented?
So moved.
Second by me. Okay, we have such a move by Mr. Koss, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Koss,
Yes.
Chairman Ripka.
Yes. Motion carries. Please read agenda item number 5 into the record.
Update of the firefighter, EMT, paramedic certified list.
Okay, I yield the floor to Chief Donahue.
Thank you and good afternoon. As you will actually notice, there's been a change from the February agenda in the February list to the March list, where actually there are no part-time people or full-time people on the list. In doing so, there's actually 6 candidates since really the last time that we have met that we have hired full-time. 2 of them were our former part-time personnel, that being Austin Young and also Alexander Watson. Those 2 positions filled, 2 positions, 2 of our guys that went from Delaware Fire Department to Columbus Fire Department. We're very fortunate to also be moving, and on March 21st, Dana DePasio, Patrick Johnson, Dashiell Marquardt, and Joshua Schaefer will be starting with our department. These are additional positions that we've had made available to our fire department with this year's budget. And as you know, we'll be opening up our 4th station later this year, hopefully. If not later this year, will be the first of 2019. So that exhausts our list. And as I had mentioned previously, we are going to be moving on filling and doing an update of our list, getting a new one established. But there was one thing that was really holding us back on moving forward with that, and that was our physical ability test. If you remember last year, we talked, we were having that test validated. And we've got the recommendation last year. I did a brief overview of that. And as I mentioned, there was details that we had to actually write out script out the entire process because the proctors that will be leading those, that's the script that they read from and only that they read from. So that has been completed. Earlier this week, we did a walkthrough of that with a member of the union. And then on the 19th of March, we will actually be having several of our personnel actually go through the process as if it was a live one to finalize that process. And our hope is at the April meeting to bring that forth to the Civil Service Commission to let you know exactly what we've done.
Thank you.
So with that, in a nutshell, not only do we have those candidates that we are hiring, but much the same avail as our PD. We did have some people that were dropping off the list because they have taken jobs elsewhere. So I hate to say it has to move forward on an empty list, but if you would just recognize that this is the list at this point in time.
Oh, I understand. But that almost gets you fully staffed. I think you might have the
actually
data manager records.
Well, the data manager position, we're going to be moving on. Actually, trying to get that set up to hopefully start on April 4th. I just did receive a resignation earlier this week. A gentleman's going to be leaving our department and going to Newark Fire Department. He lives in that area. As he said, that's home for him. His wife actually works for the Newark Fire Department. So we will still have 2 full-time positions and then the part-time positions as well.
Good. So you're almost fully staffed. You got to replenish your list. And I think I heard from one of the police candidates that Columbus was shutting down their list. They got 2 classes going, and luckily that maybe we can get some folks over there, and they're just not all saturated up with those 80 firefighter hires down in Columbus. So,
Well,
we'll
and
see.
I guess we'll certainly see. I know Columbus is currently going through their process. They're still in a process of taking out some. I know we have at least one candidate that's part of their process that may end up going to Columbus. But Lori and I have worked out, we have a schedule of 2 processes this year. Last year we did 4. We're trying to look, that was a huge undertaking last year. But having said that, we're going to focus on 2. It's hoped that we'll be bringing that list before you in June.
I think you're in good shape with these fires over there, get them on board. So when you pick the 5 in there, they're going to be down at the fire station, is it 305? 304.
304. These people won't actually be going there.
There's no house to go to yet.
But even with that, our personnel by contract have a bid process. So there'll be a relocation of our existing personnel, shifts down there, promotions, and so forth. So even the people there at Station 301, 302, and 303 may end up changing as a result of that.
Did we ever find out if the building itself was going to be kind of dual use or have a little bit of extra space in case some of the police officers need to stop by or something?
And actually, part of Station 304, if you've been up to Station 303,
Yes.
where service coordinators are located at, that office is available to our police department. That's actually what's going to be dedicated. But we've made, Chief Pijanowski and myself have worked diligently to open up all of our fire stations that should they need to come in and do a report to stay in that area, they have that capabilities.
Probably down in Glen Ross because they're kind of far away. It's nice to have
Certainly,
them more.
in that station, they will have a dedicated office. I think Chief Pijanowski was going to donate, I think, $1 million for that fire station for that.
Well, thank you very much. It's a lot of fundraising we got to do. Yeah, all the budgets.
Strike that from the record, by the way.
Elaine, are the cameras running?
That's good. Thank you, Chief Donahue. Does any commission member have any further questions? Not at this time. If not, do I hear a move to accept and approve the fire certified list as presented?
I will move.
And second, I will second this. We have such a move by Mr. Koss, second by Mr. Ripko. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Koss,
Yes.
Chairman Ripko.
Yes. Okay, the motion carries. Does the public wish to provide any comments today? All righty, okay. The commission congratulates Detective Sean Franks, who was selected as Officer of the Year at last month's Police Department Awards ceremony, if I can quote you, Chief, for consistently performing at a higher level. So we congratulate him, and we congratulate all those who received awards, commendations, or recognition that night. On a more personal note, did anyone here participate in the police department's response to resistance experience last month? Oh, because you missed a good one. You really did. So it was sponsored by our very own police department and conducted by officers Derek Childs and Austin Barnhouse, by the way, did a fantastic job. They were very, very patient with us. But if you ever wonder what it was like to stand in a police officer's shoes, this is about as close as you can get. The experience itself is a computer-based training simulator which helps teach police officers how to handle a crisis situation, such as a guy getting out of his car when you pull him over with a baseball bat, or worse, chasing you with a gun. So I went through, there was just a couple of us in that one late class, and so we had the whole hour to ourselves, which was just fantastic. So we had a short presentation by Sergeant Diaz, and then you were taken downstairs, and you got a police belt, an interactive taser, and a interactive handgun, which seemed to fire just like a 9mm weapon. And then I was introduced into several videos. Imagine video thrown up on the screen, potential dangerous situation, and you're in it as a police officer. And you've got to respond to just about every threat that was out there, and then several of them were pretty life-threatening. And I'm no stranger to firearms, and I own some and shoot regularly up at Blackwing, but even with that, I still got shot 3 times because I was hesitant to fire my weapon. So when you want to sit in a police officer's shoes, you can hear about all split-second decisions, but you really find out how short that is when you do that. So I think it was very hands-on. It's a very effective way to get the public to find out what it's like. So Chief, kudos to you guys. And it's not just the police, it's the firefighters as well. I mean, those are life and death situations, whether you're running in a building with the backdrafts or whether you're, a paramedic trying to do life and death scenarios. So it goes across our workforces. Lastly, Chief Donahue, this is probably an unfair question because I just read it in the Gazette about an hour ago. But it just struck me as odd because it talked about Genoa Township Fire Department getting a washing machine.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so what's the news about that? Well, the news is that it was industrial strength kind of thing, and it had what they call an extractor. So they found $10,000 out of a grant, and they bought this for one of their fire stations. But it seems to be a pretty good way to rid the uniforms of the carcinogens, whether it's hazmat or fire and those kind of things. So my question would be, do they really work?
Actually, I'm going to say yes and no. And if you'd bear with me for just a second. We currently have 3 extractors, one at each fire station. Currently, when we build fire station number 4, one is included in that fire station as well. Our personnel do take care of their equipment and watch those after responses. We do a decon out at the fire station, and we're really focusing right now our safety committee, which is a joint safety committee between the local as well as the fire department, is looking at that and bringing forth a new SOP pertaining to that. The only reason why I say no is last week we had a gentleman come in. We were working with our PD looking at bioterrorism, and there's some new products that are out there. And it's an ionization type of product, but we actually utilized it on one of our turnout gears that had recently been washed. And ironically, you could start seeing it encapsulating some of the carcinogens that were still on the piece of equipment. Now, the question is, since he's washed that, has he been exposed? Did he put on during training? The air packs are sitting up against the seats and some of our equipment. Did that really create that type of contact? We're still looking into that, but it was interesting. But it looks like we'll probably be moving forward. I've already given direction to our captain that's overseeing that to move forward, getting that ionization product. Not only will we utilize it in our paramedic units, but we'll probably be utilizing it throughout our fire stations as well. So we'll see where it's at. But going back to the extractor, yes, we truly believe it works. Joe Murphy here is our union vice president. I think I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I think he always believes that it has worked and done a good job for us.
Yeah, well, cancer is an occupational hazard for your line of work, and whatever we can do to make it safer for everybody is just what we ought to be doing.
And that's what we're trying to work on, and we're trying to work on the internal aspect of it as well.
That's good news. Sorry for the unfair question.
I liked it because I could answer it too.
That's good. Does any commission member wish to provide any further comments? Okay.
No, thanks.
All right, there being no further business to conduct, do I hear a move to adjourn?
So moved.
And I will second that. It'll be up to Mr. Cost, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Cost?
Yes.
Chairman Ripka?
Yes, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.
Just want that love somebody to say no, they don't want to.